Okay, so we had an autocross event this past weekend, and it was very exciting. Not because we won anything, not because we did well, because the car that we were running finally started to work correctly. And I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory on this. So, for those that don't know, this car is the second Miata I've ever owned, and we bought this a long time ago, 6, 7 years ago. And this was a car that I bought and told everyone I am not going to change it at all. I'm going to keep it completely stock. So that went well. We built this as a street touring car, and I drove it as a commuter for years. We took vacations in it. We had our stereo system in it and a cushy leather interior. Eventually, we started getting more into it. I started adding the vinyl stripes, and the hood vents got on there. We used the car as a marketing tool for a couple of years. It towed our trailers around for a while. Did some promotional stuff with that. Then about 2 or 3 years ago now, we made the jump to SSM and took it off the street. Went to a supercharged motor, big flares, Hoosiers, spoiler, gutted all of the creature comforts out of it. AC, cruise control all gone, radio gone. Went through the whole lightning process. The soft top is gone. So, ever since we made the switch to SSM, it has not performed as we had hoped. And it's all in the suspension and handling department. The power has been phenomenal, but suspension-wise, it just wasn't right. And I am not a suspension expert. I understand why race teams have full-time people who are suspension experts. So what I'm going to go over here is stuff that I have figured out the hard way over the past 3 years. So the issue was when you have a car with that much power and you've changed that much on it, it's really hard to figure out, especially when you're doing autocross where you get 6 runs and then the course changes. It's very hard to figure out what wasn't right. The car was still running what seemed like really fast times, because we were always up, near FTD with it just because it had so much horsepower. But it never felt right, and it was always a handful. And for the first whole season, it basically did nothing but spin out. So because of all the spins, I kept thinking that we had a rear end issue, a rear instability issue. So we were always chasing suspension settings in the rear. We were messing with different alignment specs, ride height, shifting the weight front to back, pressures all over the place. And part of the reason for that is another car that we run with regularly, who is faster than we are. When we compare numbers, we couldn't find anything different. We're running the same spring rates up front, same wheels and tires, same, very similar cars, very similar power-wise. And I've built numerous other street touring cars before, and they always handle telepathically. They're just phenomenal. And one of the street touring cars that we're running currently even has the exact same suspension setup as our car on it, and something was different about it. And if you look at this frame here, one thing that I did not figure out soon enough is this is the same course, same day. Look at the difference in body roll between these two cars. The one on the left is ours, the one on the right is a friend of ours, and we are both running the same front spring rates. And I believe the same sway bar, if I'm not mistaken. And this is we're both running the exact same tire on this day as well. So look at this. Look at the difference there. I still don't have an explanation for that one. But basically what we eventually figured out is that we didn't have a rear end issue, we had a front end issue. And if you watch some of these next clips, I'll try and slow down here. Basically you can see every time there's a long sweeper, the driver is constantly chasing the nose of the car. So you turn in, the car doesn't respond, so you turn the wheel back until you get front grip, or you lift to slow down until the front end finally grabs again. And every time you lift, that's when the rear end instability issue comes up. So lifting shifts the weight, and it's the wrong time to shift weight. tail gets loose, tail comes around, and you leave the track thinking that the rear end just has no grip and you can't get the thing to stick. So, again, I'm not a suspension expert. I'm fumbling through this and figuring this out as I go. So, after a couple of years of messing with this, what we finally decided to do is we dropped the front springs by about 12%. We went from a 900-pound front spring to a 785. I think that's about 12%. And did not make any other changes. We did not change the alignment. We did not change the tire. Nothing. And it was a night and day difference. So much so that if you look at this run that I'll play here, I actually turned the car in where I've gotten used to turning in, waiting for the front end to plow, and it just turns, and I just plow through the cone dead square in the middle of the car. And I was so shocked when I got done with that run that I turned the wheel and the car obeyed. We made some changes, and in a 6-run day, I dropped over a second and a half from my first run to my last run, which has not happened in a long time. The car is now spontaneously, it's lively and agile, and I can flick it around where I want. And after three years of being very frustrated with this car, I had a good day at autocross, and it was fun, and I like driving this thing again. And all it was a 10-12% change in front spring pressure. Now, getting back to the body roll picture. So I know that our problem was that we did not have enough body roll. We were not transferring weight to the outside tire. I do not know why our car is not rolling when all of the measurable specs were the same between the black car and the silver car. So now our body roll is probably going to look very similar, but we're running a 100-pound lighter spring. So I don't know. I must have missed something in our data. Maybe he's got more. Maybe his motor setup, which is different than ours, has more weight over the nose, demanding more front spring. I don't know. Maybe his wheel offset's a little bit different, so the ratio is not 1-to-1. Not 100% sure on that one. But now, if you watch this run that we have from this past weekend, the tail steps out. It only ever steps out under power. If you give it too much gas, then the horsepower breaks the tire free and steps out. I can live with that. That's manageable. But at least I have turn in again, and it's stable through and controllable through the sweepers. I'm floored with how the setup turned out. So yeah. Alright, so yes, so everyone who was asking why I was like so excited at the end of this video, that is why. Because that's been 3 years of frustration messing with this thing to finally figure it out. And yes, I'm sure there's someone out there who knows all this already and goes, well, yeah, obviously. I wish I knew you earlier, because I would have asked how to solve this. So, yes, we are always learning. The day you stop learning and improving is the day you got to hang it up. So I'm excited to go on to the next step on this car and keep going faster and faster. We want an FTD car. I would love to go to nationals someday and actually be competitive in this class, because I love the engineering of building a car like this. And it's a long road. I'm not expecting that to happen in the near future. And no, the car right now is not competitive, and I am not a competitive driver on a national scale. But I have a heck of a lot of fun with it, and I'm so thrilled that we actually figured something out and got to see actual data like this come back. So, all right. So yeah, that was that. Hopefully, if this goes well, people like this sort of in-depth review. I will go do this more regularly when we debug stuff on the track and try and figure it out. So yeah, all learning and having fun together. So see you guys next time.